Hi guys, my name is Lemmy and I'm the artist behind the YouTube channel Lemia Crescent. Today I will be showing you how I mix a pale skin tone using Sakura Koi coloring brush pens. I do this in 3 simple steps: base color, shadows, and blush. We will be using a watercolor technique with the brush pens to paint the skin. Other supplies you will need, but you're not limited to, would be water and a brush, which is what I'm going to be using. You can use the blender pen from the Sakura Koi coloring brush pen set to do the same thing, but I'm just going to be using water and a brush. If you're going to be using water and a brush, you will definitely need a paper towel in case you make a mistake, because we all do that sometimes. You will also need a scrap of paper or plastic, and this will act as our painting palette. This image was lined with black Sakura micron pens. Now on to colors that we're going to be using today. The primary colors I will be using for most of the facial coloring will be called the base coat step. And the colors for this step are woody brown and coral red. The second step is shadowing, which I use raw sienna and dark brown for. The third and optional step is blush. Now, while a character blushing may not apply to every situation, it can be a nice touch to add life to your characters, and for this I will be using pale orange and fuchsia. So at this point you may have noticed that there are 2 colors in each step. And the reasoning for that is that mixing colors creates a much more colorful and interesting piece. If we simply use one color, the image will appear to be flatter. Color mixing is really fun and you can get lots of different looking results, so I suggest that you guys experiment with it. The colors I listed are the colors that I'm using today, but are definitely not the only possibilities. Okay, so we're going to get started on the coloring now. We're going to begin by using our base colors, and I first apply those colors directly from the pens to the scrap piece of paper. I then take a brush with water, or you can use the blending pen, and transfer the color from the paper palette to the drawing itself. If you are having difficulty getting the pigment onto your brush, you simply need to use more water. So the first thing we need to do is pick our light source, which in this picture is coming from above. I color onto areas that I plan to make darker and spread the pigment with more water to the lighter areas, and this gives it a pale effect. So now you can see why I transferred from the piece of paper to the picture, and that is simply because the pigments from the markers are way too bright and too vibrant for a pale skin tone. So how we get this to be paler is simply by diluting it with some water or the coloring blending brush pen. Next step is the blush, and I usually simply place the blush colors on the cheeks and blend it out to make it look natural. Blush can also be placed in other areas depending on the desired effect. For example, I'd put it on her nose and her ears if it was winter time to indicate that she is outside and it's a cold day. But for today, we'll just give her a bit of warmth on her cheeks, but also be mindful to add the same colors for her lips. You can use a different color. She has a lipstick, but I'm going to go for a more natural look today. Last but not least are shadows. As I mentioned, our light source in this picture is coming from above, so our shadows will be below. So in this case, where I would place the shadow colors would be beneath her bangs, under her nose, below her lips, within her ears, and most importantly, it would be on her neck. And we're all done. Here's a picture with a bit better lighting to show the details. One pro tip I have for you guys is to use a classic white Sakura jelly roll to add highlights to the skin. I place the highlights on her cheeks, her nose, and her lips in this picture. So stay tuned for my next video in this series where I show you guys how I color hair using the Koi coloring brush pens. See you then. Bye guys.